high side. Murphy shooting, save a rebound on the view.
Hey everyone, this is Casey. You are watching the Red Rubber Duckman All Sports Network. It is the final 6 weeks of the NFL regular season, which means it's the holiday season, and that means we have Thanksgiving games, 3 of them. The Lions are going to host their annual Thanksgiving game. The Cowboys are going to be hosting their annual Thanksgiving game. And on a very special edition of Thursday Night Football, of Sunday Night Football, I should say, on Thanksgiving night, we got the Ravens hosting Thanksgiving dinner. But let's see. It's just 3 of 16 different games that we have. Yes, all 32 teams are going to be performing this week. There are no teams on bye, which I think is awesome. And if I remember correctly, I think week 14 is going to be the last week where there's going to be bye weeks. So we'll get to that at a later time. But let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into predictions. So, of course, we have the Packers at the Lions for the first day of Thanksgiving. So for the Packers, the defense has suddenly turned into one of the more dominant units in all the league, and they showed the Vikings how dominant they could be. As the new Packer Micah Parsons totaled 2 of Green Bay's 5 sacks, and the most expensive offensive line in football could not block them. Could not block them worth spit, I should say. And Emmanuel Wilson thrived when filling in for Josh Jacobs with 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. The passing game wasn't really explosive, though, with under 200 yards for a third straight game. But the defense is for real. And do not be surprised if the Packers win the NFC North again, based on that defense alone. As for the Lions, with the Giants looking to pull the upset, Jahmyr Gibbs put the Lions on his back and ran along with them on his back for 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, including that 69-yard touchdown run, nice, in overtime to seal the win. Gibbs came through with 122 of those yards in the fourth quarter and overtime. And although the offense was good, the Lions could not put the game away, and they could not stop Jameis Winston as they had a couple of trick plays that worked beautifully. Of course, it didn't stop the Giants from being eliminated, but then again, what could you do? So last year, the Lions' undoing ended up being the fact that their defense couldn't stop anyone down the stretch. If they don't fix it soon, it could be back-to-back trips out of the divisional round. But for this instance, I'm going to say it's a rare win for the Lions at home. I'm going to say on Thanksgiving, I'm going to say the Lions take out the Packers. I know, shocking considering their history. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Kansas City Chiefs for their Thanksgiving dinner. Now, the Chiefs were put in a rare position against the Colts. Going into the game, they were at 5-5, and they needed to save their season. We haven't said that in years, but they did just that. Being down 20-9, the defense woke up in the fourth quarter, allowing only 11 yards, and that allowed Patrick Mahomes and the offense to wake up. He would throw for 145 yards in the fourth quarter, and that would set up a comeback that would end with Harrison Butker's game winner in overtime. This was the first one-score game that the Chiefs won all season, and that might have started a run. God help us all. But the Cowboys came out with a miracle win themselves after 2 turnovers, a punt, and a fourth down failure in the first 4 possessions. But after that rocky start, the Cowboys turned it on in the second half. Dak Prescott bounced back from an early interception and threw for 354 yards and 2 touchdowns. George Pickens totaled 146 yards receiving, and the struggling Cowboys defense was able to stop Saquon Barkley for 22 yards. Since adding Quinnen Williams, they only gave up 90 yards in 2 games. They're still a long shot for the playoffs, but unfortunately for those outside of America's team, It's not too late. But I have a feeling that Kansas City has started a run. And unfortunately, I think they're going to be back. I'm going to say Kansas City takes out Dallas at Jerry World on Thanksgiving. Next up, our final Thanksgiving game, we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Baltimore Ravens down at who uses M&T Bank Stadium. The Bengals cannot blame their loss last week against on the defense. Because although the unit struggled all year, they came up with big plays, including a pick six from Geno Stone and a goal line stand in the second half. The defense was putting this team in a position to win nearly every time, but Joe Flacco and the offense could not take advantage of it. And with no Jamar Chase, Joe Flacco struggled to move the ball, and he didn't help things by throwing a pick six in the first half. Gee, Jamar Chase, maybe you should keep that spit to yourself. The Bengals had a chance to save their season with Joe Burrow likely coming back on Thanksgiving against Ravens, but with the Bengals 3-8, good luck. As for the Ravens, they looked out of sync most of the game on offense, but they were still able to pull out the win thanks to a defense that seemed to be playing better and better every week. And this was a tight game at halftime, but the defense took over during the final two quarters by forcing 2 turnovers and making 2 fourth down stops on New York's 4 second half possessions. Lamar Jackson had a pretty erratic day, completed only 56.5% of his passes for 153 yards. And Derrick Henry averaged just 3 yards a carry, but he did score 2 touchdowns. The Ravens were finally able to come back, and they are on top of the AFC North after starting 1-5. And I have a feeling that momentum is going to continue. I'm going to say that the Ravens take out the Bengals. Next up is our Black Friday game. The Chicago Bears taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. This isn't the 1985 Bears that we're seeing, but Chicago's defense definitely put this team in position to win. Not only did they force 2 turnovers, but they also made 2 big fourth down stops. Caleb Williams had an inexcusable fumble that led to a Steelers touchdown, but he made up for it by throwing 3 touchdown passes of his own. Ben Johnson was thrilled to see Williams complete at least 1 pass to 8 different receivers, and that kept the Steelers guessing. Gee, for the Steelers defense, it was slants. Now it's a game of guess who for them. They never knew where the ball was going to, and Williams wasn't anywhere close to perfect, but he got the job done, and that is what Chicago has been living off of. Now, they don't always look great, but they'll gladly take the 8-3 record when they can. And as for the Eagles, what was that last week? After the Eagles had a 21-0 lead, the whole team decided to just disappear. Philly could do nothing in the second half. 6 possessions in that half were 4 punts, a fumble, and a missed field goal. And there was also a muffed punt that was recovered by the Cowboys as well. There were no worries about A.J. Brown as he topped 100 yards for the second time since week 4, but nobody else showed up. The Eagles struggled to move the ball against one of the worst defenses in the NFL heading into week 12. And that could be a bad sign for the defending champions if they don't turn things around. But I have a feeling they might. It's going to be tough to predict. But either one of them can win this. But I'm going to say it's actually the Chicago Bears taking out the Philadelphia Eagles. Next up, we got early afternoon games. We got the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. And no logical, this isn't the Charlotte Panthers. This is the Carolina Panthers. But the Rams looks like a clear Super Bowl favorite on Sunday Night Football. And that is because everything is firing on all cylinders. Matthew Stafford is playing like he already won the MVP, throwing for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half before taking the foot off the gas. But then again, there was really no need to pile it on. It also helps that he has two of the best receivers in the game in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, combining for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. The offense sometimes overshadows the defense, and when they both play well, watch out. As for Carolina, as said before, you're only as good as your weakest link. And the defense was able to come up with 3 interceptions off of Brock Purdy, but the Panthers offense could only come away with 3 points off 3 turnovers. The Bryce Young that threw for a career high 448 yards the week before, he struggled on Monday night, throwing just 28 yards in the first half. Young threw 2 picks of his own, and he went cold on third down, going 1 for 7. And Rico Dowdle on the rushing attack disappeared as if the Niners defense was Penn and Teller. Despite this, they could steal the division from the Bucs since they don't play each other until 2 of the last 3 games. And with Baker Mayfield hurt on the Bucs, oh boy. But I'm going to say that the Rams delay the inevitable for now and stake their claim as a clear Super Bowl front runner. Next up, we got the 49ers and the Browns. So San Francisco, let's be honest. Brock Purdy still has cobwebs he has to shake out. This was his second game back after missing 6 weeks of action, and he threw 3 interceptions. But fortunately for him, those mistakes did not come back to bite the Niners. Their defense was reliable and able to hold the Panthers to just 3 points off of turnovers. Jair Brown came up with 2 picks off of Bryce Young. Christian McCaffrey went off against his former team for 142 yards and a touchdown. And despite all the injuries, the Niners look like a team that could go very far in the playoffs should they make it there. As for the Browns, congratulations. For the first time in 30 years, a Browns quarterback won his first start. Shedeur Sanders was far from perfect or legendary, but he played smart football after an early pick. His first career touchdown iced it, with him and Dylan Sampson going for 66 yards to the house. It also helped that the Browns defense gave him plenty of time to cool down as they made Geno Smith's time a living hell, sacking him 10 times, with 3 of them coming from Myles Garrett. The Browns can be good if both of their units are functioning normally, like they did last week. But I'm going to say San Francisco kind of spoils the party and brings Shedeur Sanders back to reality, despite all the injuries that they have. Next up, we got the Houston Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts in an AFC South showdown, which looks to be very, very spicy. Now, the Texans have had one of the best defenses in the NFL all season, and on Thursday night against Buffalo, they showed it. With Will Anderson picking up 2.5 sacks, Daniel Hunter getting 2 sacks, and the Texans pass rush continue to beat up Josh Allen for 4 straight quarters, and those 4.5 sacks were just part of 8 on the night. Constant pressure led to 2 interceptions, both of them going to Kalen Bullock. And the offense only had 1 good quarter with 17 of their 23 points and 52% of their total yards coming in the second. But when your defense is good, that's all you need. And that offensive performance was kind of expected when you have Davis Mills playing and not CJ Stroud. However, at 6-5, they are back in the playoff race. And the AFC and the other AFC teams better be looking out because this defense could help Houston beat anyone. As for Indianapolis, they had Kansas City on the ropes in the first 3 quarters, but the offense collapsed in the fourth quarter and overtime, only moving the ball for 18 yards in those 2 periods. They did not trust Jonathan Taylor apparently during that time, as he had only 1 carry in the fourth quarter when Daniel Jones threw 8 times with 6 incomplete passes. Yes, the Colts are still 8-3, but they have one of the hardest remaining schedules in the NFL. If they want to prove they're contenders, that you have to play better than this. And I can really see an upset happening. I'm going to say the Texans, take out the Colts. I got to have at least one upset pick this week. It's the start of the holiday season. It's time for some white magical pixie dust to come about. Before we go on, it's time to say that we have 6 potential eliminations, 5 of which I think are likely to happen. The first one is the New Orleans Saints. They will be eliminated if they lose this week and either Tampa Bay or Carolina win. And the Saints will be traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Right now, New Orleans just can't get out of their own way. A fumble and a missed field goal in the first quarter should have been red flags early that this game was about to be ugly. Blake Group missed 2 field goals on the day, but got no points when driving down at the 1-yard line to go along with no turnovers and 3 trips in the red zone. The only touchdown was on a pick six. I got news for you, New Orleans, because unless your name is the Steelers, you can't win by not getting the ball in the end zone. For Miami, the Dolphins have found their secret to success, and that lies with Devon Achane. He ran for 120 yards, with 40 of them coming in the fourth quarter. While the Dolphins defense got torched by the Commanders' running game for 179 yards, they did come up with 2 of the biggest plays in Madrid with a goal line stand and a pick on the first play of overtime. The season's still hanging by a thread, but there is still time. And I think it will continue. I'm going to say that the Dolphins put the Saints one step closer to elimination. The next team in danger is the New York Jets. Let's just say that they want neither of these 4 teams to win. Jacksonville, Buffalo, Houston, and Kansas City. Should the wrong combination of 2 or 3 teams win and they lose, then that's going to spell the end of the New York Jets run. And the Jets are going to be hosting the Atlanta Falcons. And after giving up 24 points in 4 straight games, the Falcons defense finally woke up. The defense forced 2 turnovers and a goal line stand in the third quarter, put the Falcons in control for good. Bijan Robinson had a field day with 107 yards and a touchdown. Kirk Cousins did throw a pick 6 in the second quarter, but they torched the Saints defense every other time, including a game-sealing 49-yard touchdown to Darnell Mooney. With that, they were finally able to break their 5-game losing streak that's been plaguing their season. And for the Jets, Aaron Glenn was hoping that benching Justin Fields would spark the offense, but that did not happen here. Tyrod Taylor under center, the Jets punted on 4 of their first 5 possessions, and they only had one drive that went for more than 35 yards in the first 3 quarters. Breece Hall totaled 119 yards from scrimmage, and he also lost a key fumble in the fourth quarter. And the offensive struggles overshadowed the performance of a Jets defense that held Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense just 241 yards. Yes, they're still playing hard, but with the Jets 2-9, I think your season comes to an end tonight. This week, I'm going to say the Falcons take out the Jets. The Arizona Cardinals are also on the chopping block. They could be eliminated if they lose and wins from Chicago and Green Bay. And the Cardinals are traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Last week was the Cardinals season in a nutshell. In prime position to win, they would have collapses that would make even the worst teams jealous. This is the 6th game where the Cardinals lost by 4 points or less. And they went 3-and-out after 2 Trevor Lawrence picks. And there were multiple chances to spike the ball and set up a game-winning touchdown, but it never got to happen. So many mistakes are why the Cardinals might not make it out of this week. However, they're taking on a Buccaneers team that had everything that could go wrong on Sunday night go wrong. Not only was Baker Mayfield taken out for a whole half due to a shoulder injury, but even with him, the offense couldn't do much of anything. Only one of the first 6 drives went for over 30 yards. Mayfield threw a pick 6 when Kobe Durant ripped the ball out of Kate Otton's hands. And the Bucks are in deep trouble with Carolina racing by them like Jackson Storm. You better hope that Baker Mayfield doesn't miss much time because that could kill your season. And I have a feeling that the Cardinals are going to be taking advantage. I'm going to say Arizona takes out the Buccaneers. And to no one's surprise, the Tennessee Titans have the easiest road to get their season killed. Simply a loss can send them home. And of course, you got to worry about Buffalo, Houston, Kansas City, and Baltimore. So, yeah, I'd say the Titans are pretty much cooked. And they're going to be going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Nashville. NFL, we need to talk. What is it with you in heart attack games? Trevor Lawrence turned the ball over 4 times, including 3 picks in the second half, but the Jags defense was able to bail him out with crucial stops. They were able to sack Jacoby Brissett 6 times, which was shocking coming from the defense, with the second fewest sacks going into week 12 with 15. Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, and Brenton Strange all topped 50 yards receiving. And if Lawrence limits the amount of turnovers, the Jaguars could actually swipe the AFC South from underneath the Colts. As for the Titans, they were able to hang in there with one of the best teams in the NFL thanks to 2 big rookie performances. Of course, on special teams, you got Shamir Dyke, as he became one of the best punt returners in the NFL. And he returned a punt 90 yards for Tennessee's first touchdown of the game. And then Cam Ward also received some credit after playing reasonably well against a very tough Seattle defense, as he threw for 256 yards and a touchdown, while also leading the team in rushing with 37 yards and a rushing TD. But those 2 rookies alone are not going to get you to the promised land. Heck, they haven't even brought you to 2 wins thus far. But the good news is you can compete with the top teams, and you do have 2 impressive rookies. All you need is more building blocks, and you could be back in contention in no time. But for now, I'm going to say that the Jaguars take out the Titans once and for all. We finally reached our late afternoon games. Here we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Vikings took a big gamble on J.J. McCarthy as their starting quarterback, and that gamble has become a very big bust. Like, they only trailed 10-6 at the half, but their offense disappeared in the second half, and that's very fitting because the offense disappearing has been the story of the season for Minnesota. They only totaled 4 yards in the final 2 quarters, and McCarthy threw 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter to kill any bit of momentum for a Vikings comeback. And the offensive line, the most expensive offensive line in football, according to Harvey, got run over by a Packers defense, and they sacked McCarthy 5 times. This already feels like a lost cause for Minnesota. They should just blow it up and move on to next year. For the Seahawks, I'm going to tell you one thing that the Seahawks are thankful for this Thanksgiving. JSN. He is the NFL's leading receiver, and he kept that title for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 catches. But the problem is, Sam Darnold went 8 of 16 for just 77 yards when he didn't throw to Jackson Smith and Jigba. And the Seahawks had this game in hand, but they took their foot off the gas in the second half, and you could not do that against a defense like the Titans. And you can bet Mike Macdonald will be reminding his team that they need to play all 4 quarters as they head to the final stretch of the season. Because you are still in contention for a wild card spot, but you have to work for it. It doesn't just fall in front of your lap. I'm going to say that the Seattle Seahawks are going to take out the Minnesota Vikings. The 5th team in contention to be eliminated are the Raiders, and they basically have to deal with the same situation as the Jets. You got to worry about Buffalo, Jacksonville, Houston, and Kansas City. And of course, you got to take care of your own business as well. and they will be traveling to SoFi to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. At this point, the Raiders should just blow it up and try again next year. Geno Smith was awful. The offensive line was awful. Ashton Jeanty couldn't find open lanes to work his magic. I don't even care if they were going up against one of the top defenses in the NFL against the Browns. Because not even their special teams could save them. I mean, the Raiders defense did fine, but they gave up 270 yards and 183 of them coming from 4 plays alone. Big play after big play after big play after big play is what killed the Raiders against the Browns. Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly were all over their heads, and it led to Chip Kelly getting the dreaded pink slip. But let's be real, no deity can save the Raiders at this point, because the Chargers, hopefully, had time to regroup after that ugly loss. The offense was sloppy the whole game, and the defense was embarrassing to look at. The banged up offense, because let's be real, against Jacksonville, the banged up offensive line was no match for their pass rush. Because of that, the running game couldn't get going, and Justin Herbert was getting rattled. I don't care if it was 10 a.m. Pacific time. You're not going to win the AFC West that way if you keep blowing games to actual playoff contenders. Fortunately, you're not going up against one this week. You're going up against a team looking to save their season, but is probably incapable of doing so. I'm going to say that the Chargers take out the Raiders. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was a close game against the Texans, but don't let the scoreboard fool you. This is a very bad and concerning loss for the Bills because they got exposed in every which way. The offensive line got bullied by a Texans pass rush that sacked Josh Allen 8 times, which is the most sacks he's ever taken in a game in his whole career. And with Allen under constant pressure, the offense fell apart, and not even a 100-yard game from James Cook could save them. And they should also be concerned that the defense could not clamp down against a Texans offense that was being run by a backup Davis Mills. And this team also needs to figure out how to win on the road. They lost 3 of their last 4 road games, and that's not a good sign considering you'll be playing on the road if you make it in as a wild card team, because I don't see the Patriots ending their winning streak anytime soon. The bottom line is this team goes as Josh Allen goes. And the Bills are now 0-4 on the season when they score 20 points or less. If they run into a top defense in the playoffs, oh boy. And speaking of tough defenses, the Steelers kind of figured it out against the Bengals, but that was pretty much gone against the Bears. Because with Aaron Rodgers out due to an injury, the Steelers put the game in the hands of Mason Rudolph, and he would hand the game to the Bears as he threw 2 picks, one of them in each half. As he turned the ball over twice, one in each half. The Bears turned those mistakes into touchdowns. And the Steelers had the ball twice in the fourth quarter with a chance to tie the game or take the lead, but they would come up empty, as is the theme of this season. And they also got stopped cold with 2 different 4th down conversions. And whenever the Steelers need a clutch play, they don't get it. The Steelers don't have any offensive firepower, and guess what? Baltimore is now past you in the division lead. But with the way you're playing, I doubt you're going to compete with them. If you want to prove that you're legit, I suggest you start now against a team that people said were Super Bowl contenders going into this game, going into the season. But I'm going to say that the Steelers somehow, some way, pull off the upset against the Bills. Why? It's just been that kind of a season. And we have our final team that could be eliminated this week, but it's highly doubtful. It's the Washington Commanders. They could be eliminated if they lose, plus 2 wins from Green Bay and Seattle, and somehow, someway, should the football gods be so cruel, a tie between the Bears and Eagles on Black Friday. And they're going to be hosting the Denver Broncos. Both of these teams are coming off of bye weeks. Bo Nix had been inconsistent all year long, and he had to keep it to a dull roar when facing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Let's just say he did just that and more. He threw for 295 yards on the day, including 215 in the second half and 62 on the game-winning field goal drive. If Nix continues to perform like this, the Broncos might actually be actual competition in the AFC and dethrone the Chiefs in the West. The Orange Crush defense continued to play lights out as they sacked Kermit 3 times and took away his pixie dust. Look out, this might actually be Orange Crush 2.0. For the Commanders defense, they did their jobs in the red zone, holding the Dolphins to 1 touchdown on 5 trips. Washington had 2 crucial goal line stands, including one that forced overtime. Marcus Mariota played well after having to fill in for Jaden Daniels, but he did make a crucial mistake throwing a back-breaking pick at the start of overtime. And the Commanders had their chances, but Matt Gay would miss 2 field goals, and making a kicking change was too late, as Matt Gay is now gone. The story of the season. No matter what they do, it's never good enough. I think this is going to hold true, even though I don't think you're really going to be eliminated. I'm going to say the Broncos take out the Commanders and put them 1 step closer to elimination. Oh, boy. So the Giants, they're already eliminated. And for punishment, you have to go up against the New England Patriots. It doesn't get much better for you. The Giants got a full Jameis Winston experience in their game against the Lions, and it was wild. Because not only did Winston throw for 336 yards and 2 touchdowns, he also had his first career receiving touchdown. That's good. But the Giants didn't win because they couldn't stop a Lions rushing attack that had 237 yards on the day. The defense especially struggled coming out at halftime, with the Lions totaling more than 300 yards after the break. And the Giants are now the first team in NFL history to lose 6 straight games in a single season where they scored at least 20 points. And that basically sums up the kind of year it's been for New York. And as for the Patriots, they did look a little sloppy to start their game against Cincinnati. And on their first 3 possessions, they totaled just 27 yards, and Drake May ended up throwing a pick 6. But after that one bad quarter, New England took over. Marcus Jones got a pick 6, and what was an impressive day for the defense. And as for May, he rebounded from his bad interception and threw for 282 yards and a touchdown in the final 3 quarters. Hunter Henry had his way with the Bengals defense, catching 7 passes for 115 yards and a touchdown. It would have been easy for the Patriots to overlook the Bengals here, but they went on the road and they got the win. And if you combine that with Buffalo's loss, they are 1 step closer to moving towards winning the AFC East again. God help us all. And I think it will continue. I'm going to say that the Patriots take out the Giants. So that is going to do it for me. Like I said, there were no teams on bye this week. It's Thanksgiving week. Everybody's going to participate. But thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to like, comment, share this with your friends, and subscribe to the Red Rubber Duck on All Sports Network. Hope you guys have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday with your family. Enjoy the holiday with your family, and save me a piece of pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie for me. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and until we meet again, have a happy Thanksgiving. I will see you all in the next one. Take care, guys.